Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the September 18th, 2018 school board meeting for the Dover Area School District. If you'd please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mrs. Benko, could we have the roll call, please?
Mrs. Britton, Mr. Cook, Mr. Deschaux,
Here.
Mr. DeLauder,
Here.
Mr. Eifert,
Here.
Mr. Emig,
Here.
Mrs. Herman,
Here.
Mrs. Maley,
Here.
Mr. Rawhauser.
Here.
7 members are present.
Okay, thank you. First on our agenda tonight is our communications period. This will begin with our reports from our student board representatives. We have Sarah Wilt with us tonight, our returning representative, and we have a new representative, Gianna Gigi Castro. Did I say that right? Welcome. Would you like to tell all of us a little bit about yourself, Gigi?
I am going to be...
Do you want to turn that microphone toward you a little bit there?
I'm a junior. Starting this year, I will be the student head for Stage Crew. I'm in a bunch of other clubs like Resurgence, Link. I'm also part of the homecoming committee for my year, and I'm also a historian for the class of 2020.
Well, welcome. Ladies, the floor is yours for your report.
So from the secondary schools, the high school, the Resurgence team held a Resurgence rally to kick off the school year. This rally was centered around the theme of We Are Dover and focused on building an active and positive school culture. Students were encouraged to take part in extracurricular activities, many school clubs, show school spirit, and be the change we see in Dover. The 9th grade extracurricular fair will be held tomorrow, September 19th, during Flex. This activity utilizes a round-robin format to introduce new students to clubs and extracurricular activities through brief presentations by student leaders in each group. The students in grades 7 and 8 earned individual Gold Star rewards of slushies and early release time for PBIS. Team PBIS rewards will be held on Friday, September 24th. Weekly PBIS lessons, Got Your Back Wednesdays, began on September 5th. The counseling department is holding a college and career night on Tuesday, October 2nd. This event features presentations by PHEEA on financial assistance and a college fair featuring schools throughout the mid-state. Students at the secondary level completed the MAP, Study Island, and CDT benchmark assessments to begin the school year. 7th grade students participated in Ron James Choices Assembly, and the Homecoming Spirit Week will be held October 9th through 12th. This year's theme is Hollywood Homecoming. We encourage everyone throughout the district to join us in celebrating Spirit Week.
And for the elementary report, all elementary schools had a PBIS assembly kickoff to review proud expectations and rewards. All elementary schools had a great start to the school year and well-attended back-to-school nights. Threat assessments and security drills were completed or scheduled at all buildings. In the fine arts, the Dover Eagle Marching Band will host its band night on Friday, September 28th, at the home football game against Kennerdale. The next night, the band will compete at the Spring Grove Band Competition. In athletics, fall sports are in the midst of their seasons. Many of our teams have had positive starts to the fall season, seeing success on the field. We have a number of home events this week and encourage everyone to come out and support our Eagles.
Any questions for our student representatives? Ladies, thank you very much. You are more than welcome to stay and participate in tonight's meeting, or if you have other things you'd like to do, you're more than welcome to do that as well, whichever you'd like to do. Okay, next is our presentations and celebrations. We have the Dover High School DECA presentation.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Mrs. Lonnie Kress. I am the DECA advisor, one of the DECA advisors.
I'm Kelsey. I'm the vice president of leadership for our DECA chapter.
I'm Elijah Sutton. I'm a Red Zone manager.
I'm Victor Dormer, also a Red Zone manager.
And I'm Lexi Lunsford, the vice president of finance. So we've had DECA in our high school for 5 years now. It's our 5th year. and we've grown every year since, and we're really excited to share with you all the things we have in store for this year.
So last year was really like a huge DECA year for us. We had the Community Service Project, which 3 of our members got together and decided to raise money for the childhood cancer. We almost raised $5,000, which was huge. We were awarded the Helping Hand Award at States last year, and that's awarded to the chapter that has raised the most money. Yeah, so we're really excited for this year. We have 3 new projects. We're doing the Community Service Project again, and the Learn and Earn Project, and the Red Zone is also competing this year.
So I am one of the leaders of the Community Service Project. We chose the Epilepsy Foundation for our Community Service Project this year to partner with because myself, Kirsten Schreier, and Brooke Evans all have ties to epilepsy in our family, so it was very near and dear to us to bring awareness to it in the community. We're going to have events taking place in the month of November because that's Epilepsy Awareness Month. The first event is going to be a Pound-a-thon, which is going to be more geared towards adults in the community. We're going to be having a Fall Fest, which is going to be our way of getting the students and children in the community involved. We're also going to be doing a t-shirt sale, a bracelet sale, and we're hoping to do a district-wide coin sale to get all the kids in the school district involved. And we'd also like to have your support to connect with all the principals in the district so that we can personally reach out or connect with the families in the district who are affected by epilepsy.
So this year, my partner Abby and I, we're going to be doing the Learn and Earn project. We started working in the summer, and this is what we came up with so far. We want to have a dodgeball tournament with West York. Learn and Earn is basically you hold like an event or a fundraiser, and the money goes back to your DECA chapter. So we've already had 2 meetings at West York. We met with their advisors first, and then they invited us back and kind of set us up with a group of students so that they could help us get the ball rolling and help us to promote in their school and kind of get kids to get involved in their school. And we hope that by doing this, we can show them how much we do with DECA and how much we benefit from actually doing stuff like this.
So me, Victor, and our 3rd helper, Chris, we're doing our school-based enterprise project, which is the Red Zone. And for a part of our project, we have to do the sales promotion, which right now we're looking to a district-wide polo sale, which in fact we just got the samples in today. We also have to find merchandise that the staff and students like and make it affordable. And then the last thing that we have to do is get snacks that meet strict regulations and also ones that the students like, and keep track of all that and have retail.
We just want to thank you for all of your support in Dover DECA the past couple years. We're really looking forward to making this a great year. Our chapter has grown tremendously in a short amount of time, and we're really excited about going there and cheering for DECA and hearing our name announced, hopefully many, many times when we go to states this year. This has transformed my classroom. It has taken learning to a new level. It's beyond the walls, beyond the bell of my classroom, and I love DECA, and I'm excited and proud of these kids and excited for a great year.
Thank you very much. Do our board members have any questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to our first public comment period. This is a 3-minute period for items on or off of tonight's agenda. If you have anything you would like to state, please come to the microphones and state your name and address for the record. Okay, we'll move on to board president's communication. We did have an executive session prior to tonight's meeting to discuss the items on tonight's agenda and some personnel matters. Also under Board President's communication, we have the PSBA officer election. We had received ballots to vote for the PSBA officers, Pennsylvania School Boards Association officers. So at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to record our votes for the PSBA officer election.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Questions or discussion? For public knowledge, this board has voted for Eric Wolfgang as president-elect of PSBA. Eric actually is a board member for the Central York School District. Art Levinovitz for vice president. Richard Frericks for a trustee. William Lakoff for a trustee. And Nathan Maines for a trustee. And then for the Forum Steering Committee, we have voted for Brian Fike, Lorraine Rocco, and Beth Ann Ziegler. And for the 2-year term, Anita Caseman and Denise LaPera. Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, Mrs. Benko. And the motion carries. Next is our Policy Committee report. Mrs. Kroom.
This is a new addition this month that either myself or Mrs. Herman will be updating the board on each month. But you'll see in your executive content that we talked about a number of policies, and a number of them are coming up for your approval tonight. So Policy 707, use of district facilities and fees. We're ready to move that onto the Facilities Board Committee on Thursday, so they will hear about that. 806, child and student abuse needed to be updated, so that is coming to you for your approval tonight. Field trips is also coming to you for your approval tonight, and it had the addition of the extra study time in the field trips. Discrimination employment, that is a required policy that does have some revisions due to law changes. That is going to go back to the Policy Committee in October. We decided to table that for now. Gifts, grants, and donations, we added some additional language to that, so that is also coming for your approval tonight. Suicide awareness, prevention, and response. We've been working on that for a couple months, but that is about ready to move. Oh, it is moving to Safe and Supportive Schools on Thursday evening. Kirsten will talk about that. Also, dating violence. We did not have an updated policy, and this is again recommended. Kirsten is going to do some further revisions and then bring that back to Policy Committee in October. So these are the policies we worked on this month, and again, each month we will kind of give you an update of where they are. Any questions about any of those policies? Okay.
Good. Next, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes. So at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the August 14th, 2018 board meeting.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Questions or discussion? Mrs. Benko. Motion carries. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the August 16th, 2018 board planning meeting.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Questions or discussion? Mrs. Benko? Motion carries. Okay, next we'll move on to tonight's consent agenda. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve all items on tonight's consent agenda.
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, before we go on, are there any questions or discussions about any of the items on tonight's consent agenda? There's a rather lengthy list of items. I did want to comment on item 828, donations. I would like to thank the Dover Elementary staff for their donation of $200 that will be used for outstanding lunch balances for the Dover Elementary students. So thank you to that staff for doing that. It's very kind. Anybody else? Hearing none, Mrs. Benko. And the motion carries. Okay, moving on to our Human and Fiscal Resources category. Mr. Cook is not here, nor is Mrs. Brinton, but we do have one item for action on that category, and that is the DAE-SPA agreement. So at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the agreement between the School Board of Directors of the Dover Area School District and the Dover Area Education Support Professionals Association for the period of July 1, 2018 through June 30th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? I'd just like to thank the Support Association for their efforts in negotiating this contract. It was a very cordial process for everyone involved. Anybody else? Okay, hearing none, Mrs. Benko.
It's not coming up. There it is.
The motion carries. Okay, now we have some reports. Dover Eagle Foundation. Mrs. Kroom, I'm going to ask you to report anything on that.
On Monday, this next Monday, we are meeting with Gwen Murphy, and we are hoping to come out of that meeting with a slate of new board members and a calendar of meetings. So we will keep you posted on that. We're very excited about that and ready to move on. I'd also like to report how, as well, 30 staff members have stepped up and donated money per paycheck to the Dover Eagle Foundation. So that is very exciting, and we're real excited for those grants that we're hoping to give out.
Terrific. Any questions for Mrs. Kroom? Okay. Mr. Emig, York Adams Academy.
We will be holding our next meeting the last Tuesday of this month, and as of the report that I got yesterday, we have 18 seats at the York Adams Academy. Currently, we have 10 students enrolled with open seats of 8. And we're going over a couple policies there as well. Plus the lease of the building, we are discussing that as well because that lease is up. So.
Thank you, Mr. Emig. Any questions for Mr. Emig? Okay, York County School of Technology, Mr. DeLauder.
If you may remember, I believe it was 2 meetings ago, I discussed the issues they were having with their current building project of the new gymnasium. And I said that at that time that they were going back and looking at their options. At our last authority meeting, we were presented with the new options. They are now moving the gymnasium from within the building and have taken it to the south side of the building on its own. They believe this is a better concept. They felt more confident with the price tag that they presented to us. And they also believe that it's going to provide more options. It's going to be basically a 2-story, so to speak, gymnasium where you will enter the gym at the top and will then walk down the bleachers to get to your seat, thereby eliminating the need to go onto the court to get to your seat. It's also going to be a walk out toward the back in anticipation of possibly in the future moving their athletic football field to that position and creating a new stadium for that. The price tag that they're looking for right now is just over $10 million. It's like 10.4 for the price tag. They did say it's a little expensive. Again, the tariff issues, those types of things are really affecting the pricing of the materials. But they feel pretty confident on this 10.4 price tag. One of the concerns that I had with it when they brought it up, again, our cap for them was $10 million. So again, we're looking at some ways to bring that down. One of the concerns that I had, one of the concerns they had when they first brought up this issue was their wrestlers were practicing in a room with full-length glass in the room, and they were concerned with safety issues. Because of the overages, they are going to they're going to build the frame of the wrestling room, but they're not going to furnish it, which is a concern for me because that was the original reason that we wanted to build this. So I did express that concern. So they're going to look back and see how they can incorporate that wrestling room back into the plans. Their hope is, if we do approve this at the JOC meeting, is to put it out to bid in early spring, and to have kind of like we did break ground over the summer at some point. And they're hoping the spring again because of they feel that's the most competitive time that we can get the best prices at that point. Other than that, they started their back to school activities, and we should get a report on that next week at our JOC meeting.
Thank you, Mr. DeWater. Any questions? Okay, next is LIU, Mr. Deschel.
The only thing I have is that they hope to have a list of candidates for the director position within the next couple of months, and they'll be doing interviews, hopefully they're saying by the end of the year.
Thank you. Questions for Mr. Deschel? Okay, Legislative and York Learning Center, Mr. Rawhauser.
York Learning Center, I think we meet this coming Tuesday. I didn't get notice yet, but I think that's when we meet same time that Terry's group does on the earlier. On legislative side, I think House Bill 55 is the one where they want to change the tax situation, but they think that one's kind of dying. I seen an email I got last week from, I guess, Pennsylvania School Board Association. There's some representatives that are trying to put a bill together that we go to 4.9% on earned income that we pay the state. And that they're hoping will raise enough money to eliminate property tax, because they said there's too many senior citizens being put out of their homes because the way the tax system works, and they're trying to get support. Now where that'll go anywhere or not, only time will tell. But that's a thought they're working on, and they're talking, like I said, 4.9 is what they need to generate the billions of dollars it takes. Another comment is, have we sent anything to our representative about we're not in favor, at least some of us aren't, put it this way, I'll put myself, that our earned local income tax money go to Harrisburg instead of to local. It was suggested in an email I got that we send a letter to our representatives from board approval. Now, I don't know if we've done that already.
Last month.
Okay.
Yep, last month we did that.
Okay, well, then that's taken care of. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, questions for Mr. Rawhauser? Okay, PSBA, Mrs. Brinton, she is not with us tonight. I do not have anything on that. Do you have anything, Mrs. Cream? Okay. Dover Industrial Development Authority, Mrs. Herman.
This Thursday morning, 30 business owners, state and local legislators are all going to meet down at the restaurant in Dover to discuss establishing a business association in the township. And we have 2 people here who are going to attend because we are a big business. And Mr. Benton, he's going to make a presentation on Thursday morning, so if he would like to say a few words about that.
The presentation that will be done will be on workforce development, on how the school system can help support that need for our local businesses. It'll be a short presentation, 10 to 15 minutes, but there'll be a total of 3 presentations, and there'll probably be over 30 plus people attending that day. So it's a pretty good turnout for the very first association meeting. Okay.
Thank you. Any questions for Mrs. Herman? Okay, superintendent's report, Mrs. Kroom.
All right. Happy to report we started off with a wonderful beginning of the school year, and I want to share some information with you about our opening day, because last time we met we were a couple days shy of opening day. So we have that. Oop, not going to come up there. It's not up, Jen.
Where was it? It was right there, wasn't it? This? What did you get?
Well, it's.
Oh. Hold on one second. Sorry.
There we go. Okay. Yeah, start just at the beginning. Okay. So this was the first year that we had the entire staff, all support staff and teachers present, and it was excellent. Mrs. Heidler did a phenomenal breakfast in the morning. It was beautiful, and we just had a really nice morning. So we started with, ready, Jen? Okay, Mr. Eifert introduced and welcomed everybody, and I think it's great. This is the second year we've had him do that, and he is the first person that the teachers and staff get to see. Mrs. Gwen Murphy.
People.
No, it was great. And then Mrs. Gwen Murphy, she presented next about the Dover Eagle Foundation. She just talked about how the Dover Eagle Foundation can support the teachers and how the teachers can support the foundation and how this supports kids. So that was a real nice presentation. Of course, every year we welcome our new staff. And last year we started by celebrating years of service, 5, 10, 15, and we stopped at 35. Well, one of a little bit of the feedback we got from the staff was, hey, after 30, that's a lot of years. So we shared 30, 31, 32, 33 until we ran out. So that was kind of fun, and I think the staff really did like that. So from there, our message to everybody was talking about Dover and talking about how important staff relationships with students are, and the fact that no significant learning happens when we do not have relationships with kids. So if we're hoping we can get this video. It did. So what this video basically shows is we have them do a PACE survey every year, and some of the data about Dover students was a little disturbing, and lots of thanks to Kirsten for putting this together. It was one of those did you know, and it was statistics about the district. And see if it goes that way, Jen.
Brad's gonna email it to me.
Yeah. There are some statistics that were very surprising that I think you will find surprising. So we decided to share this with you.
Give me 1 second, please.
I'm going to try to share it with you.
It's not coming through.
If it doesn't, that's okay. Just.
Okay, I'm not.
It's not going to work. So Kirsten, some of the statistics that we shared, 51% of our students have thought about suicide in Dover. Yeah, would you come on up and share?
Most of the data that we shared was regarding socioeconomic status. We have a higher percentage of students that are eligible for free and reduced lunch this year than we did in prior years. We're at about 45% district-wide. About 50% of our students, and the survey students 6th, 8th, and 10th, and 12th grade. So 50% of our respondents reported symptoms of depression most days in the past 12 months. Our students are scoring higher than the state average on self-injury, on contemplating, attempting, planning suicide. Our students are experiencing bullying on school premises at higher rates than counterparts in our state. So just a number of concerns about transitions, worries about food insecurity, worries about housing instability, worries about abandonment actually being raised by grandparents or other caregivers. And so things that our student body is experiencing actually at fairly large prevalence rates that we felt was really important for our staff to understand.
And that kind of led into my message with them, Dr. Maloney's message with them, Kirsten's message with them. We have a number of programs we put in place for these things this year. So it led into those discussions. The other video, so Jen, we can't get the other one up either, which is okay. The other video okay, that's okay. So the other video Dr. Maloney shared with them, it's a video from a movie. Let me see. Let's see if this works. Want to try? It's not working. Okay. So this was a nice move. This was a video as well, but this is about a student in a high school who comes back on the first day of school into his English class, and he talks about the fact that he lost his mother. He was evicted. Him and his mom were evicted over the summer, and how depressed he was and upset until he saw his students, classmates, and walking into this class, and how much he remembered this teacher. And our message to everyone was primarily that we do truly make a difference in students' lives, and to take advantage of that and don't take it for granted. So it really was a terrific kickoff to the school year. I think everyone got the message. The afternoon then for the teachers went into faculty meetings, and for the support staff went into more information about that data. So our feedback from the teachers and from the support staff was great. And so we really think we did a nice job, and we really set the stage for the direction we're going this year. I then played a video. We do have a speaker, which I talked to you about a little bit, that last Friday in September, Jimmy Cassis, and you are all welcome to join us, and I am purchasing books for you as well. But Jimmy will be with the entire staff in the morning talking about culture and the importance of culture in education, and then every teacher and their principals are going to be doing a book study over the next few months with the book Culturize. So that should be a really nice message as well, continuing with our message. I'm sorry. That's okay. That's okay. Last year we started this. Each department from the district office presented and just gave a quick update about what was going on. So for example, facilities, Dave gave an update about where we are in the building project. Christina talked a lot about some of the new programs we have in place. We always talk about the budget and where we are. So that is always real informational and informative as well. And then we really ended with Kirsten sharing some more information, really bringing everyone up to speed with what do we have in place. One of the things we heard from them last year from professional development was, please train us more on how to help our kids. So that's what we wanted to start that day. And Kirsten did a phenomenal job with that, talking to them about the different things that we were going to be doing. And then finally, the staff went to lunch. But it was a really great morning. The principals will tell you that they had so much to share with their teachers that afternoon. They didn't get through it. But it really, I think we set the stage for the year, and it truly has been a wonderful, wonderful first couple weeks of school. We've had some hiccups, and we've kind of, fixed them, but it's been a real good start to the school year. So that was the first thing I wanted to share. I also wanted to share with you that you did pass the budget timeline tonight, and you should have seen that last Friday we opened the budget survey for everyone to answer, and we've received a number of answers to that. So that'll be great. That is going to help us lead us into the budget season. We also asked a couple questions about elementary realignment to see where families and people are feeling, and that information is going to go to the Comprehensive Planning Committee, and they're going to talk about that as well. Today, we spent some significant time looking at enrollment for next year and into the next, how far do we project out?
10 years.
10 years. We need to know that information before we talk about realignment, before we talk about how we move the district into the future. So we did that, and our next step is we want to go talk with the township, and we want to ask them about all these building projects that are on the docket. What is real, what is not, where are we breaking ground? Because we need that information before we make final decisions about what to do at the elementary school. And then finally, just quickly going back to the budget, we did receive information that the base index is 2.3. The adjusted will come later in the month. However, PASBO is predicting that for Dover, it will be 3.1 as we go into our budget timeline. So, any questions?
I guess I have more of a comment. I guess those statistics really, they're disturbing.
I will share you that I will email that video to you for you to look at it. They were very disturbing.
In regard, I think you had mentioned this, that we are, I mean, we're not just taking this data and just kind of putting it to the side. Do we have a plan in place to address these issues? Or are we getting a plan in place, I should say, to address these?
We are addressing these issues, yes. We have a very, very strong plan, and we are addressing these issues.
In that survey, was there any, was it just a kind of a yes-no type question or scale, or were they able to provide further information regarding what some of the issues may be coming from, other than the bullying that you alluded to?
Absolutely. It's a really, really lengthy survey. And our results, we can share the results, the report with all of you if you'd like to see the full report. There are a number of questions. So the questions regarding mental health and substance use, they are answered in a scale. And there's a number of different questions. So the depressive symptoms scale, for example, kids are answering things such as, I sometimes feel that life is not worth living. I sometimes feel as if there is no hope for my future. And so they scale it and they ask the question in a number of different ways to get to the end result of depressive symptoms. But there's a lot of information in that survey. Does that?
And just, again, I think I've asked this question in the past, but when you have these anonymous surveys, in your experience and in the history of that kind of stuff, what is the percentage they feel is of students answering truthfully to those questions?
The way that the survey is designed, it's sort of written to avoid error. So the questions are asked in so many different ways that even if a student were to just be going through and answering strongly agree, strongly agree, strongly agree, that would sort of pick up on the survey and their results would be tossed out. So we believe that the results are very accurate. And just from my perspective in the position that I've been granted in the district and working with our counselors, I'm not surprised at the numbers. We have significant mental health needs in this district. And we have brought in a number of resources to address those needs, and we're continuing to find ways to do early identification, early intervention, education, reducing stigma. We have a very solid plan in place and strategies to address it, but we have a significant amount of work to do. And I think the awareness that we have this year is probably stronger than we may have had previously.
And then final question, I apologize for monopolizing. I know our high school, at least at one point, had a student group, a VEDM.
Correct.
Are we utilizing this group to try and get that peer-to-peer?
Absolutely. So we have a VEDM at both the intermediate school and the high school. I've met with both clubs so far this year, and I'm looking to partner with those student organizations because particularly at the high school level, students tend to talk to one another more than they're going to talk to adults. And so trying to help students come up with strategies where they can support friends, but where they also can identify kind of when it hits that threshold of, I can't help my friend because their needs need to be addressed by a professional, and how do we get kids talking to professionals and not feeling like they're betraying the trust of their peers. So certainly working with that peer group to help address that particular dynamic at that age group.
Thank you.
I will share with you the videos, I will share with you the report, but I will also share with you Kirsten's presentation to the teachers that day because she lists for them all of our services. And, you know, we have talked about this, but what I think I would also like to do is schedule some Tuesday at 5 o'clock before executive session at 6, so Kirsten can kind of talk you through our programs and what we do. If you're available, you can come. If not, that's okay. And then you can ask her all the questions you would like and make you more comfortable. We want to educate you, so when you hear from families or parents or communities, while you might not know exactly, you'll know we are doing something and you can direct them in the right direction. Does that sound like a good idea? Yeah, I mean, she's done an amazing job, but we really stepped it up a lot this year with a number of additional programs and things we've purchased and assessments and, yeah.
And was this a survey, a state survey, a national survey? A state survey, okay. And I know you had mentioned about, you know, this is anonymous, and so how do we really help these kids? But we've also implemented parents signing that permission form to have their kids evaluated.
Yes.
Yes. And that's due coming up this
Yep,
Friday,
that's part
correct?
of it.
For the intermediate school, we're looking to have those back this Friday. For the high school, we're looking at in October. We have screening in October for the intermediate and screening for the high school in November.
Have you gotten a decent number of responses so far, or still?
I think we have a lot of parent outreach to do. We have received some responses. We've received a number of parents saying they do not want their children to participate. And we actually have received probably only about 15% back at all at those grade levels. So we have a lot of parent outreach that we need to be doing over the next couple of weeks.
Any questions for Mrs. Kroom? Okay, thank you. Next is our miscellaneous period for any other comments or observations from our board members tonight.
Yes, I have a comment. Being around the dairy industry all my life, knowing what real milk tastes like, and somebody some years ago had the authority to take the real milk out of school, and now the law has changed that we can have 1% flavored milk in school. Has Dover followed that procedure?
Yes, we have.
Thank you. It should be 2% instead of 1%.
1% at a time.
Well, the dairy industry's working on it.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to our last public comment period. This is a 2-minute period for items on or off of the agenda. If you'd like to comment on anything, please come to the microphones. Okay, with that, future meetings, our board committee meetings will be this Thursday at 6:00 p.m. Our board planning meeting will be this Thursday at 7:00 p.m. And our next regular board meeting will be October 16th. That would be a Tuesday. So if there is nothing else for the good of the order tonight, I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
So move.
Second.
All in favor, yes?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. We're adjourned. Thank you.